Yes! Wait. Did it... Okay, so I got the camera working on OBS. Now it's a matter of putting it here. Let's see. Okay, I think it's working. Sort of. Maybe. Last time I had to do this in order for it to work on OBS. And now it's not working anymore because it can only be connected to one, right? And I think right now it's connected to this one. So if I go back to like this, it's not working. Okay.
Change from black to something else.
From black, I mean the camera. Oh, wait. Yes. Okay. Sadly, I have no idea what happened. So I am gonna move these camera to here. Much better. Okay. So I don't have wait, this is confusing. How do I... Ah, there, that's better. Okay, perfect. Okay, so I realized last night that I do not have a cute overlay for this section. I have the intro one. I have the one for like a break, the one for ending the stream, but I don't have a cute one for this part, and I don't like the orange one. So I'm gonna make them one right now. I'm on Canva trying to see what is better. That was kind of lame. So today I thought I actually had a plan of what I wanted to do today, and then I freaked out because nothing was working. It was crazy. I don't like that one. Wait, what was it? I think this one. Nope. Okay, I kind of like this one. I don't like this color. Yeah, so I will just have to like double check real fast. Orange, ew. What everything, well, what I was supposed to talk about today. Hold on. I wrote it down because I do not, oh, see, here it is. All right. I have so many distractions, I can't focus. Okay. Time to get off the TikTok and get on Twitch. Dun, 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 dun. Wait. This? Okay. Okay. All right. So that's working. So I have this very uncomfortable chair that I don't like. I ordered a new one, so hopefully that one's better. Cause see, like it just makes my legs numb. Maybe I should turn the light on. Nah, it's fine. Okay, let's see. I can smell my brother's food, and now I'm hungry. Okay. I wonder if we can change the wallpaper here. Green screen effect. This was like the better one. Wait a second. Wait a second. I think I might be able to just change this. Let's go to Instagram. But the ones that I have are not cute. Yeah, no, I'll just make one. I'll make one. I'll make a background for it. Okay. All right. So I'm just gonna pretend that the past 10 minutes I was not struggling with anything. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about what's going to be happening in this channel. And so, what, or like the plans that I have for this Twitch channel. And I want to have panels and interviews and do fun activities. Wait, hold on. I'm going to like pause there because my hands are really dry. I'm really tired, so it's really hard to focus on one thing. I should have brought my squishy ball, but I left it over there. Okay, focus. All right. No, wait. Yeah, let me connect my camera to my computer to the charger, because otherwise it's gonna die soon. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna turn on the lights because the quality of the camera of like the integrated camera of my thing is not the best. I'm used to like this other one that I have on my desktop, which is way better, but I have problems with that one because I guess it's too good for the internet connection. And let me just complain about my internet connection. I live in the middle of nowhere, California, and we have one provider of internet. And yesterday my brother and I went because he was giving me a haircut, and he was like, they're off, like they had a store there. So I was like, hey, let's just go ask to see what like other plans they have, so we can have like a better plan maybe for later if it's too expensive or whatever. And then we asked, and then they gave us like they were like, oh hey, yeah, no, it was a good plan. It was better than the one that we had. The download stream was like almost doubled. And then we were like, hey, okay, that's great, all that, but I was like, we were concerned about upload speed because that's what I need, right, especially when I'm streaming. And then they were like, oh no, the upload speed for all of our services or all our plans, it's 100. And I'm like, 100? That's like nothing. That's why I can stream with my fancy equipment, because my internet provider sucks. Anyway, let me turn the light on. That made it a little better, but still not great. Okay, this time for reals. I'll start with better stuff so I can put it on YouTube this time. All right, let's see. I guess I can introduce myself in case you don't know who I am. My name is Elizabeth, and I am a part of Psychology for Geeks. It is a new nonprofit that we are working very hard to get registered and get all the state stuff in order. We have all the paperwork except no money. We have no money in order to pay for everything that we need to. So we're working on that. But anyway, the point of Psychology for Geeks is to provide services to underserved populations. So I live, like I said, in the middle of nowhere, California, and we have very little resources in this area, especially when it comes to anything that's like anything, just in general, but it's just way worse for mental health. We don't really have a lot of clinicians in this area, and there is a large population here that is primarily Spanish speaking, and we have maybe one or two providers that speak Spanish. So our hope is to do more community events to get that community support and start doing psychoeducation programs. And we do have a couple of things already listed that we're going to be doing. We do free, everything is, our aim is for everything to be free, but of course we also have to, you know, find a way to fund. So we'll have events that are paid, we'll have like, but it's not as much as like in other places, or we try to is like reduce sort of fee. And also we would have free events in the community, and we already have some scheduled. I'll be doing some presentations, psychoeducation presentations at some of the local libraries, and I will be collaborating with game shops and comic book stores and stuff like that to have fun things for the kiddos and also for us adults, because we also like to geek out. So yeah, so you can check that out on our website if you're more interested in like finding out what we do. We do have a lot of like free resources already in general, because everything like on social media, we do a lot of like sort of psychoeducation things that are more towards like combining geeky things. So I'll talk about like an anime or a movie or something, and then I'll explain a mental health concept, and I'll give tips on how you can understand yourself better, or like if you're stressed or whatever, how you can take care of yourself. And so that's absolutely free. And we also have our YouTube channel, which please subscribe and like our videos. That way we can have the YouTube partnership, so we can get that sweet money, so then we can actually make free, like completely free events for everyone. But yeah, we just geek out. That's really what we do a lot of the times. And because I love talking about mental health, I sprinkle it in everywhere, or anything, any sort of project that I am doing. But I want to talk a little bit more about some of the projects that I'll be doing in the next few months. So I want to have, ideally, so next week, on the next, either the next week or the following week, I'm gonna post a panel that I did with a bunch of really awesome nerdy professionals, in which we talk about why therapy is so expensive. And I want to have a lot of that panel. Ideally, I wanted it to have on Twitch, like live on Twitch, so people could come in and ask questions. But I still didn't know how to do Twitch at that time, and it was just going to be really complicated having like so many people in one stream. I barely know how to stream by myself, so I don't like streaming with another person is like still a little complicated, and like I don't really have a lot of people that like watch live on stream. So oh, thank you, Boone, for putting, yeah, that is my YouTube channel right there, so you can just, I guess, click on that and check it out. And yeah, so that's a panel that we are gonna have on YouTube. But once I figure out how to, I was gonna say master, like how to use Twitch and stream, like, but I don't think that's gonna happen. There's like way too many things that are like super complicated, and I have no hope of understanding. And I was just so thankful that my brother was here. Otherwise, I don't think this stream was gonna happen. But anyway, yeah, we'll have interviews with like individual interviews with just one geeky professional. I have one that's sort of like, it was supposed to be today, but again, I don't know how to use Twitch, so it's got postponed to next month. So it's a no, I don't want to say. I don't. I'm gonna say. I want to leave it as a surprise. But really cool person on how to use, or how you can geek out and take care of yourself, kind of thing. And just to make it easier, because I think it's just, especially for, there was this quote from an anime that I saw. It was what's the name of the anime? It was the Apothecary Diaries. Yeah, it is so good. So if you have not seen it, you definitely should. I think there's only one season out so far, but it's like great, because I usually, I just binge watch a lot of stuff, and even if it's not like the greatest, I'm like, oh, it's still kind of funny or whatever. So I'll still watch it anyway, and especially if it's like an isekai, because I just love isekais. But this one is a the main character is like so cool because she's incredibly smart and she's just trying to survive, and she's kind of like, she's wants to help people, but she doesn't want to call attention to herself. And there's this like guy who's like kind of trying to use it. We don't really know. I'm pretty sure this is a either a manga or like a short story already. So there might be people out there who know like the actual story. I don't know because I haven't read it. I just watched the anime, but it's really good. And they're just basically trying to use her to improve, what's happening there in the palace or whatever. But anyway, the main character is fantastic. And there was this one time where they were asking her if like she was willing to learn something, and then she was like, you see, learning something or doing something that I'm not interested in, I'm not so good at that. And I'm like, that just describes like just my whole life. Because like my ADHD, if I'm not really interested in what I'm doing or whatever, I'm not gonna put as much effort into it because it's just not as interesting, to me. And that's why my scores in anything that had to do math were not the greatest because I just hate math. But yeah, wait, what was I going with this? Oh, I don't know, I forgot. I forgot what I was saying before I started ranting about watching anime. Okay, point being is that we will have interviews and panels that way you can ask questions to a lots of different mental, like geeky health providers, I guess, and then you'll get answers like right away. So don't forget to like subscribe to this channel and or to YouTube. Well, actually this one because this is where we're gonna stream stuff. And my brother, being smart and awesome, also figure out how I can play games, and I have been learning how to play video games. And there was something interesting. I want to do a stream where I just talk about video games, so I'm just gonna sort of like touch on video games a little bit. I just keep going, wait, this way. Keep going like this, and I just see the cute like painting of my dog, and I'm like, he's just so cute. And he's like just over here taking a nap, just like a little fluff ball over there. Anyway. Yeah. Wait, what was I saying? Yeah, so I don't want to talk too much about video games because I want to have a whole stream where I dive more deeply into like video games, and I talk about sort of my own journey in like video games and all the stuff that I learned while playing video games, because there's a lot of like negative what is it? What was it called? Wait. There's a lot of like negative stereotypes of like gamers and playing video games, and I think I just have been maybe absolutely lucky about it, but I don't think I've ever encountered like a fandom that was completely toxic. I hear about them like from other people, and they're like, "Oh yeah, don't go to the fandom because they're like super toxic or whatever." And I never really encountered that. So I guess in a sense I have been relatively lucky in terms of that. So I don't know. There's a lot of things you can play from, or you can learn from playing video games and whatnot. So I really enjoy that aspect. Or like I will do like a whole stream about that, and hopefully maybe by then we will get the, what is it called? No, it's not the game card, something card, and whatever it's called. In order for me to be able to connect it to my Switch, which is what I use most of the time to play games. I also like playing phone games. I have one in particular that I'm like super obsessed with right now. And that was kind of like one of the games that I realized like what type of games I enjoy playing. So it's basically those like survival games where you have to collect. Yeah, there you go. Thank you so much. It's a capture card, that's what it's called. Yeah, but I enjoy playing like those survival games where you just have to collect resources and like build something, and I don't know, it just I love those. I, for some reason, to me they just seem to be a lot easier and whatnot. So yeah, so hopefully once we get that capture card and if we can get everything connected and we can figure out how all of that works, and I can start playing video games on here as well. I will also be doing like arts and crafts and stuff because I love coloring, and so I'll have like a I've planned a bunch of different streams that I want to do. So like in terms of topics. So let's see. No, not this one. Not this one. I think it's just down here. Let's see. So I have one, like I said, that I want to talk just like purely video games, and there's like another one where I want to talk about. Obviously, I'm gonna be talking about mental health the whole time as well because I just can't help myself. Um, but yeah, so we'll be coloring some of the things I want to do. Talking about anime, I'm gonna talk like just more specifically like only talking about anime. Then we'll talk. They'll have one where I want to talk about fan art and fan fiction because I have recently started following some people on TikTok that talk about like they just do like cute little like videos talking about like fan fiction and stuff, and I just don't think we talk about it enough. So I want to talk more about that because I love it. And anime, fan art, fan fiction, video games. And that's basically so. Tomorrow, actually, I am going to try to figure out how to do this two-person thing on stream, and hopefully that works. So, please have me in your thoughts and prayers to see if that works. Because I am going to be talking to a good friend of mine, and she's basically just going to be my guinea pig to try to figure out how all of this works. And we're gonna talking about Avatar: The Last Airbender because we love it so much, and we're gonna be talking about tea also because I love it so much, and hopefully she shows because she just got these like really cool like tea. What's it called? It's not a teacup. She's missing the teacups. But like a tea kettle, and it's really cool. So, and then she says she has a collection of like teacups, and I have like one that I bought. It's like an Uncle Iroh one, and I like it's my absolute favorite, and I use it all the time. But I don't wash it like I guess often enough, and sometimes I just get really lazy, and so I want to have like a bunch of different teacups. But I have a collection of tea at this point, but not teacups. So that's my next thing. I'm just gonna start collecting teacups eventually. So yeah, we'll be talking about that tomorrow. I can't remember. I think it's like around 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's when we're gonna do it. So come and join us. And uh, I have other like fun things that I want to do on stream, but I don't know if they're like either cringe or like just not something that I can actually do or like people would be interested in. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. So once I get better at streaming, I do want to stream more consistently though, because I think it would be. I think it's fun actually. It right now I have like one person. I don't even know. Like, how do I know how many people are here? My wait. How do I? I don't want to mess with anything because I feel like I'm just gonna like screw things up. But I think it's only one person. Actually, let me see. I'm gonna try to. Yeah, we'll have one video right now. That's fine. I'm gonna share my stream right now on social media. I don't want to put it on my feed. I just want to put it in my stores. I'm just gonna copy this. And oh, that's how you rate people. I was also always wondering like how I can rate like I guess other channels and stuff. But lately ADHD totally in love with like streaming and watching streamers. That's like my TV now. I haven't been watching any anime lately. I still haven't seen the second season of Jujutsu Kaisen because I've just been watching streamers. And whenever I follow like 3 or 4 streamers, really, and a few of them are like in different time zones, so they're usually like streaming like when I'm asleep, so I don't really see them. and the other ones that do stream when I'm awake. They don't stream every day. And then I'm like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with my life if I'm not like watching a streamer. So that's lately what I've been doing with my life. I mean, let's see. Take a picture and smile. All right. I'm gonna post this. Oh no! Wait. I'm gonna add the. I'm gonna say, come chat with us. Church. Is anybody still like on Twitter? I don't know if people still do Twitter. Wait, delete this. And then I'm gonna add a link. Okay. There you go. Da, 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 da. Alright, so that's uploaded to one thing, and then I have to, I want to do it on my Facebook as well. Do I have to add another picture to this? I'm gonna put a picture of my dog instead. He's just so cute. So roly poly. No, roly poly. He's fat. He's a fat doggo. How do I add? I usually don't do stories on. Oh, thank you. You want to see more of it? Oh, and welcome. I'm Georgine Bunny. Look, that's my dog. Isn't it cool? A friend of mine made it. And this one's wearing he's riding on this one. He's riding Toothless. And on this one he's wearing the outfit for Namor from Black Panther. I have another one where he's wearing Loki's outfit because Loki's my favorite character. So yeah, and let's see. Oh, I don't I get like secondhand information about a Critical Role, but I really from my brother, but I don't really watch them. But I really like this. How do you want to do this? Because I just like when it comes to like I do therapy, so when it comes to like doing therapy and stuff, it is really up to the person like to decide what they want to do and stuff. So I was like, oh, this would be really cool for me to just start saying that. Like, how do you want to do this? Like, how did you want to do this therapy session? So yeah. So I started watching. No, I lied. I started reading One Piece. So I have. Where is it? Not this one. That One Piece representation up there. And then I love I got the whole manga collection for Demon Slayer, but I have not read it. But I'm caught up with the anime, so that's good, I guess. I know, right? Oh, okay. So wait, hold on. And then obviously I have my map from Avatar: The Last Airbender here. Oh wait, let me show you. This one's really really cute. I think I'm gonna put it somewhere else. Oh, I have this 'cause I thought it was like so cute. I got it at a Comic Con a few years ago, and I was like, oh, that's something I would like to have in my office too. Let me move some of the stuff around so you can see. Oh, I'm gonna have to move this. Okay, I can't do that. But I have this little dinosaur thingy that I found out like a convention too, where he just wants a hug, and then like he can't because he's T-Rex and he has tiny arms, and his friends like, oh, are you upset? But then he finds a way to give him a hug. And I just thought it was like the cutest thing ever. Anyway, and I have like a lot more like artwork but my room is super messy, so I don't want to show you that. Um, yeah, okay, so I do this type of therapy, or like I'm trying to promote with my nonprofit Psychology for Geeks, this like style of therapy where we are using geeky things like things that we just love, like video games, anime, just anything that you like, board games, tabletop role playing games, whatever it is, into the therapy session, because that's how we are comfortable in the therapy session, because you have to talk to someone who like you don't really know about, like, things that are difficult to talk about. So having someone who at least likes the same things as you do, or is in an environment where it's like relatively like more safe for you, because you see things like this, or because you're talking about, or like you're kind of like playing a game, but you're also doing therapy at the same time. So it just kind of takes away that, like, that heaviness that sometimes can come from just like having to talk about something. So yeah, that's basically what we do, in or like what I'm trying to do. And so yeah, and welcome. So you have any questions, let me know. No, I don't. I wanted to, when I first started my program, my grad program. I wanted to work with kids. I love working with kids. I just love how, because in order to keep a kid's attention, you have to be very creative, because their attention span is like super short, and so I just like the idea of like just playing with them, and like like just being able to be very creative as I worked. And but eventually I started working with teenagers and adults, and I just really enjoy that. So I enjoy working with like everyone, because it's slightly different. So having that change of pace, or having to do therapy in a like a slightly different style, is something that I really like, because it just keeps my ADHD brain entertained. And like I think the older that I get, the more I can sort of like understand where people are coming from. So it's just easier to have that connection as well. So no, I don't specialize in kids, but I do enjoy working with them. Let's see. Oh, the other thing too. Yay! So, and let me just tell you the story of how I found out that I had ADHD, because I love it. I think it's hilarious. So my brother, I have a younger brother, who like we're super close, and I think I was just like, I just talked to him about like my own mental health and things that I learned, because I like sharing like what I learned, because otherwise what's the point of learning? And so I was like, hey, so yeah, I learned this today. And then he started going on TikTok, and he started seeing a lot of things about like ADHD, like people's experiences on there. And he said like, I think I have ADHD. And I was like, oh no, duh, bro, you're like the definition of ADHD. And then he said like, haha, you too. And I was like, no, I don't. I have anxiety. That's what I have. I have anxiety. I don't have ADHD. And then like I would be doing something like just around the house, and then he'd just be like ADHD, ADHD. And then like that got me thinking. I was like, wait, is it ADHD, or am I just, oh, is it just anxiety? Because it's very difficult sometimes to tell whether it's anxiety or ADHD, because the symptoms are very similar. And in my case, the way that I mean, and it's also very common for like people who have ADHD or are neurodivergent, just in general, to have something else that uh, sort of like comes from the ADHD symptoms, like anxiety or depression, or like social anxiety, anything like things like that, because they just come, and those are more overtly seen. And so oftentimes, and for me that's how it was, like I just was more anxious, and I felt more anxious. And then so when I started, I was like, okay, I can't really diagnose myself, because that's I don't really believe in doing that. So I was like, I'm gonna go seek a second opinion. And I did. And that person was also sort of like still doing their training. It was a psychiatrist, still sort of like doing their training. And they were like, hey, I can't really like distinguish between ADHD and anxiety. So they referred me to a different psychiatrist, and they just started talking about how, hey, because the medication, I got medication for anxiety, and that worked to reduce my anxiety. And then my ADHD was like, ha, I've been here the whole time. And so I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's ADHD too now, because it's not anxiety anymore. There's a lot of like, I just started like do like sensory things that like bother me or that I really enjoyed. I started just getting like super fidgety. And then just my brain has always been like, oh, look at that. Like, just there's so many things like going on. So I was like, oh, yeah, I think it's ADHD. And he kind of agreed with me. And yeah, that's kind of how I figured it out. And I was like, this was like last year that I like came to an understanding that it was ADHD. And I think in some ways, because I also had anxiety, the anxiety like hid some of the ADHD symptoms, and it acted uh, enough to be able for me to like mask and pretend that I didn't really have ADHD, that it was just sort of like anxiety. But yeah, that's the story of how I realized I had ADHD, and again, it's just all thanks to my brother. There's like a lot of things like we joke around like so much, and we're just like sarcastic, like back and forth, like nonstop. And but yeah, I really appreciate like his help. I wouldn't have figured it out, or it would taken longer maybe for me to figure out that I had ADHD. And I think it just also worked that at that time too, when he was talking about ADHD, I was studying more into ADHD, yeah, in general, for my own like to further understand it. And I was like, oh no, yeah, this, yeah, I had all of that stuff. So um oh yeah. Yeah, and I think especially as a woman, it tends to the way that ADHD comes, it's different. Or like it, how you express your ADHD is different. It tends to be more like inattentive type. And I guess it's common for girls to like daydream, or it's okay, it's seen. So yeah, oftentimes it's a lot harder to do that. So that's why I talk about it all the time, because I've noticed just like with my friends and stuff, I would just say things like, "Oh, it's because my ADHD." And it just makes me understand that it wasn't, because there was a lot of blame before for me specifically about like not being able to do certain things just like everyone else. And now I understand that it's just the way that my brain works. And now that I understand how my brain works, I can schedule everything sort of like to make it easier for myself, or like in a way where it's like more beneficial for my brain, and everything just seems to sort of be like ta-da, like it's just so magical, or at least it feels that way. um so yeah, but like the more I talk about it, the more people are sort of also willing to share that, that they're ADHD. And it just like I stopped and think, because I have one of my other friends, he also received a diagnosis of ADHD quite quite recently. I think maybe 2 or 3 years ago as well. And it was kind of like a thing where we kind of always knew, but we just kind of left it at that. And now I look at my friends and I'm like, you're all neurodivergent in some way. I just know it. And some of them are like, yeah, probably. And they're like okay with it. And others are like, no, 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 not me. And I'm like, there's a reason why we're friends. Like, because we like the same things, or we like we can get along because we can understand each other. Um, so yeah. Yeah, but it's good. But it is really hard, because one of the things, like, once my brother sort of like came to terms to understand that he had ADHD, for him it was a bit different than it was for me, because he did struggle a lot when he was younger. And I think that's why I really like working with adults as well, because there are the adults like me that we don't get a diagnosis until we're like into our 20s or 30s, or even later. And the whole time they just grew up hearing, sit down, pay attention, why are you like this, like why can't you be like everyone else. And it's really hard to hear that. I'm like, yeah, yeah, it's like I love working with kids because it the way that I see it is like I'm preventing that from happening, but I also want to work with adults because I understand what it must feel like in some ways, like growing up not knowing what was wrong with you, and people not really understanding you. And I think it's just a very human thing to do. Like even kiddos, like when something goes wrong, kiddos just tend to blame themselves for whatever is happening. So like parents get divorced, kiddos are like, oh, it's because of me. If they can't do things just like their peers, like then it's like, oh, it's because there's something wrong with me. So yeah, so I want to talk about. That's one of the reasons why I created social, like my psychology for geeks. It started it like 3 years ago, I think, because I realized that I had a different experience in social media. I loved it because I could at that time I was like super into the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and like still into Loki, like I've always been. But yeah, and also I was traveling a lot of the time and I got into photography. So I was like, yeah, social media is great. I love it. And then other people will be like, no, I hate it. It's like so toxic. People are like this and that. And I'm like, oh, well, like, I don't know what kind of social media you're into or like who you're following or like whatever. But I was like, but it has been great for me. So I wanted to create that safe space for everyone to just sort of like talk about themselves or like geek out, specifically geek out, because I started like the older that I got and the more comfortable I became just showing how geeky I truly was and how much of a nerd I truly am. The more I noticed like people will be uncomfortable because they themselves didn't want to say that they were into like Magic the Gathering or that they will play D&D, because it's something that like it's not really spoken about. And then I'm like, no, you need to geek out, like you need to do all these things, like you need to have a space to be able to do these. And then because I work with kids a lot of the times, sometimes parents come in and I will ask. One of my favorite questions to ask during sort of like the interview process for new clients is what are your hobbies, because then that lets me know like what you're interested in, and maybe we find something that we can connect with, right, to make it easier. And a lot of the times, especially parents or older adults, they would just be like, what do you mean hobbies? Like I don't really have any hobbies, or like I go to do these things for the kids. And I'm like, no, no, those are things you do with your children, like, but what do you do for yourself, like something that you love, like your kids don't have to love it, but something that you do. And it was they were like, oh, I used to have hobbies but not anymore. And I'm like, that's like the one thing that could really help you, or like it help protect you against sort of like anxiety or depression, or just like becoming overly stressed, burnt out. And then I'm like, no, we don't need to have hobbies, we need to talk about hobbies. And so yeah, so it just, I don't know, it just sort of like grew and grew until eventually I was like, I want to make this a nonprofit. And you know what was weird, the other day I was telling my brother, I was like, my anxious thoughts were just like firing, and I was like, I don't think I'm doing enough. Like there's so many things I want to do with the organization that I want to I want to do all these things, but it wasn't moving fast enough for what I thought it should be. And then I was talking to him, because sometimes I was just talking to another person. You realize you kind of already know, like in the back of your mind, that your thoughts are anxious and they're dumb, and your brain's totally lying to you. But you just need like that confirmation from someone else, and then they'd be like, yeah, I knew it. I knew it was like not a good thought, or whatever. So I was talking to my brother, and I was like, I'm wrong, right? Like, just but tell me how I'm wrong. And he said like, yeah. And then like 2 seconds later, I was like, how long have I been doing this? Because I started with Instagram, and then I moved to Facebook, and then YouTube. YouTube was, well, actually no. Twitch has been like the latest social media that I've sort of started, but before that was YouTube. And then I was like, wait, when did I start posting for YouTube? And I posted a few videos about a year ago, but really like taking it seriously and posting more consistently, it's only been like 5 or 4 months, 4 or 5 months. And then I was like, oh, it feels like a lifetime ago, because I feel like I've done so much for it. But I was like, I thought it's been like years at this point that I was trying to make this nonprofit work, and I was like, oh no, it's only been like 2 or 3 months. So yeah, so that was weird. Um, let's see. Yeah, talk about that. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I do get that comment quite often, and I'm like, and that's why I'm doing this, because it just I love it, and I'm pretty sure there's other people out there who also love it. You know how when you're in school and teachers are like, oh, there are no dumb questions or whatever. I think it was a professor who once said, hey, you if you have a question, don't think it's like dumb or whatever, because you might not be the only person that is questioning that, right? Or that has that doesn't understand that. And so if you ask that question, chances are that you're helping like 2 or 3 other people that are like too shy to also ask that question and to say that they're confused about something. So I was like, yeah, I didn't really have that growing up, I think. And then so I that space where I could just geek out and be myself. I didn't start becoming comfortable with being a geek until I met in my current group of friends in grad school, like just 6 7 years ago. And I was like, I want to create that for kids too, because well, now I feel like watching anime and like playing video games or being a streamer is a bit more accepted, but still not as much as it should be. And so I want to do that. And I think part of the reason why I'm like so passionate about this is because one thing that I really dislike is interacting with people who are masky. I understand. Like I don't know. Like just my ADHD brain is like there's a vibe going on here that I don't like, and then I like sit there and think about it, and then I'm like, oh, this person is trying to mask. They're trying to be someone who they're not. They feel uncomfortable, and I'm like, that is not okay. You should feel comfortable like being yourself, and communicating the way that you communicate best, and like doing all these things. So yeah, I'm like, I want to create a space where everyone is comfortable and they don't have to mask. And I'm like, no, take the mask and throw it away, because after I realized that I was masking, I'm like, I refuse to do it ever again. And like sometimes I still catch myself like trying to mask, and then I'm like, no, no, I don't want to do this anymore because it's not funny. I hate it. I'm not being myself, and nobody really cares really at the end of the day. I like some of the things that I would be so stressed. I would get so stressed about certain things, and then I'm like, nobody even cares. Nobody even pays attention to anything like that. But it was just me. My own brain was like, no, like you shouldn't do that. I had a 2 years ago, I think, or almost 2 years ago. I was working at Starbucks. Yeah. Anyway, I was working at Starbucks, and the dress code was like you had to wear all black, including your socks, and the apron for Starbucks. But I don't have all black socks. All my socks, especially at that time, they were like all Disney and Star Wars and like super colorful, and I was like, I'm not gonna go out of my way and buy black socks just to come and work here. And I think one of my coworkers did tell me that I needed to wear black socks, but I was like, well, I have no money to go buy them, so no. And then I was like, if they tell me that I have to change it to like black socks or whatever again, I'll do that. But then I just kept wearing like just super bright, colorful socks, and and the manager at the time, I think she's like slightly younger than I was, or than I am. And I think I was telling her that I was working on like getting my doctorate degree, and then she just laughed and she said like, I think it's so funny that you're just gonna be like a psychologist and you wear really colorful socks. And I'm like, well, my response at the time was like, yeah, but I work with kids and that's how I get kids attention, sometimes. And it's just like, oh yeah, I guess that makes sense. And I'm like, why wouldn't I wear colorful socks? They're cool. Wait. I'm missing a lot of the comments. I don't know. Hold on. Let me get my thing, my phone. They're like such. I don't know how to make this bigger. Oh, I realized I just started talking that I never posted on Facebook. Okay, hold on. This is my. Wait, can I? How do I hear this? No, you know what? I did have a coworker last year who she gave me these socks. They were like super cute. They're like little hearts on them, and she just wanted to is it I'm not sure if I'm using this correctly, but she wanted to like min-max her life basically. And to make her life easier, she was just like, I just want everything to be black or like very similar shades so she can just throw everything into like the laundry and like she won't have to like change any of her clothes and stuff like that. And then I was like, oh, and then that's when I started sort of realizing that I oh, and also like I had a my boss, she walked into my room one time and she said like, you have a lot of stuff, you have a lot of stuff here. And I was like, yeah, in my head I was like, yeah, I love it, I have all the stuff, I can see all the stuff. And then she said like, no, this is too much. And she was asking me to do research on like neurodiversity and how people react to like having a lot of stimuli. And then I was that's when I realized that I was like, oh, I think a lot of the time I feel understimulated, so I need this brightness and all this stuff around me, so it just kind of like stimulates me. But I totally understand that there's people who are like, having too much bright colors or whatever around it, it's too much, and I'm like, I can't. I love like pastels and having like when I go on Instagram, like where they have like the aesthetic of like whatever, and then I'm like, yeah, I love it. I'm like, but you need more color, you need something bright to make it pop. um so yeah, it oh, is there a delay? Oh wait, are you talking about like a delay on the messages that I get? Yeah, definitely. Like that, though. Like, something like self-expression is something that I always had to like push down because I felt like I wasn't doing it the same way that everybody else was doing it, so I felt weird or awkward. So I always try to sort of like blend into the background, and even well, not so much now. I have a lot of like really bright clothes, as you can see, in my closet now. But before it used to be very sort of like gray, black, white, blue, green. There wasn't a lot of like bright colors in there. And then like little by little started becoming more comfortable with like being myself. It, I I think I had a completely different experience, like sort of like learning about ADHD because I had that background. Or like by the time I found like I actually got like a diagnosis of it and like started taking my medications, I knew about it, right? About like neurodiversity, and I knew sort of like tips and tricks on how to like help yourself. And it just the process of understanding myself and becoming more comfortable with who I was is something that I started like a while back. And then so getting that diagnosis was kind of like, oh, okay, I see, right? And then just everything sort of started falling into place. And there's days where like I struggle and stuff, but yes, like someone who is both autistic and with ADHD, it can become even more difficult, because like as you said, there's like that push and pull. Yeah. And it's even more difficult too because there's the, well, I enjoy this but not that. And explaining it to someone, it can be like really really difficult, because then you say, hey, I don't really like this texture or whatever it might be, or the way that you communicate, I don't really understand you. And they're like, well, yeah, but you understood, like, when before, like, this happened. So like having to like explain yourself to another person what you like and you don't like, when it's like difficult even for you to understand it, it can be really really hard. I don't know. I think it depends on the medication. So the question is it normal for ADHD meds to make you completely emotionally numb? Um, what I've heard before is that people who have either like really high anxiety or like really high depression, that's what happens, where like it just mutes their emotions a lot. Luckily for me, so what, I was sort of like aware of all these sort of like side effects of, especially, I cannot see it, Adderall. Oh, I think I said it correctly. Um, I was like, I don't know if I want to take it. So when I met with my psychiatrist, I was like, yo, I just want to take it, like, just enough for me to like, because at that time I was really struggling to finish my dissertation to graduate, and it was taking years already. So I was like, hey, just help me graduate, like finish my dissertation, graduate, and then I'm good. I will never take them again. And then he said, like, no, but the whole point is of medications is for you to be able to live your life, like your best life. And then I was like, oh, that's nice, but that's not what medications do. At least in my experience, that wasn't it. And then so he was talking about how there are, that the one that I'm taking now, he said, was a combination between, oh, hold on, let me Google it, because I feel like I'm gonna give you the wrong information. I don't, hold on, the names. And that's why it convinced me to like continue taking it, because now it's been like 6 months or so that I've been taking these. uh yeah, so he said it was a combination of like SSRIs and NRIs. So it kind of like reduces, it works to like reduce anxiety. uh Maybe INRI. Wait. No, I think it's NRI. Yeah. The neuropinephrine reuptake inhibitor. I think that's what he said. Or SNRI. But he said it's like a combination of both of them. So it works better, so it doesn't have sort of like the addictive qualities, I guess, of it. But it still works really well. And so when I take it, I don't feel anything. But if I stop taking them, I feel like I can't focus, I can't concentrate. And then I just started noticing like all the little changes. When I started taking the medications, I noticed the little changes. Because before, even just having like, if I had like where's the camera? Here, if I had an empty water bottle in my room, I had to like think, okay, get up, get the water bottle and put it in the, in the recycle bin or whatever. And that would take so much energy for me that I was just like, oh no, I'll just do it later, and or whatever. And now I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go do this, I'm just gonna do it in the way. And it's just like something I don't even have to think about. Like having a routine has always been very difficult for me, and it still is, but in some ways it's still like easier. So I would say that was a long ass explanation. But point being, I think it would be very good to talk to whoever, if it's a psychiatrist or a doctor that's doing the prescribing, and let them know like what you're experiencing, because sometimes you have to do a little bit of finagling to like figure out what works best for you, because something that works best for me might not work for like my sibling who also has ADHD, but his symptoms are like slightly different, or he might not feel the effect of that. Okay. I think I misunderstood your comment. So I was thinking of sort of like the things that make up the medication, but I think you were saying INRI as the combination of the medication. It might be. I just can't remember. Part of my ADHD. Just little details that are just out the window. Um, But yeah, but that's something I would definitely have like consult your doctor about that, because it there might be like a better, either whether it's a combination of something or like just a different medication that might work better for that. Because while having your emotions like muted sometimes, like when you're really stressed, can be helpful. It kind of sucks because you feel like you can't really be like super happy or super sad, like it's something's preventing you from like feeling that emotion, since might not be. Yeah, that would suck, just like in daily life, or like if you're doing something that you love, you can potentially like just stop doing it because it just doesn't feel like it's bringing you the same amount of happiness that it did before. And I was always so like so conscious too about the dosage. So I just need a little bit. That's what I told my psychiatrist, like I just need a little bit. And we started like incrementing it, and then I don't know, I think I'm at like 1 milligram or 100 milligram or something. And then I was like, this is fine. Uh, this is fine. This is where we stop. Like I could take more, but I don't want to. And I was also very concerned about potential other side effects, because I've heard too, like, if you take like a lot of medication, like eventually it's gonna be really bad for like your internal organs or whatever. And I asked him about it, and he said like, but there has to be no research on that. So in terms of the medication that I'm taking, so yeah. But this is one of the things that I highly encourage. I worked at a psychiatric hospital once, as one of my practicums, and there was a lot of people that didn't really understand how to talk to their doctor. And ever since then, I was like, even myself, I I was one of those people that was like, oh, I go to the doctor, they know what they're talking about, they just give me what I need, boom, easy fix. And then with time and the more I interacted with them, because I had to work with like psychiatrists and doctors and stuff too, I realized that not all doctors are the same. Some are honestly better than others. And so now I highly encourage people to like, because now I'm more like comfortable just being like, yeah, but why? To like doctors if they recommend something, because I want to understand like what they're saying, like what's gonna be happening, or if it's a procedure that's happening, or whatnot. And and sometimes I go with like my dad, because sometimes I have to translate. He doesn't speak English, and I noticed that he just, there's a lot of questions that he doesn't, there's a lot of things that he doesn't understand when the doctor is speaking to him, even if the doctor's speaking to him in Spanish, because he gets very anxious. And then I'm like, oh, just prep a list of like things that you might be curious about or that you don't fully understand, and take it with you to the doctor. And if that doctor is mean to you and doesn't want to answer your questions, fire that doctor and find another one. And same thing with therapists too. That's, I highly recommend. I The first time ever that I got fired essentially by a client, I was really sad. I was like, is it me? Like, what did I do? Like, I was still sort of like in training. I think it was like my second year, like doing therapy. And I was like, oh no, I did something horribly wrong for this person to not like me or whatever. And then I talked to my supervisor about it, and they're like, "No, it just, it happens. Like, sometimes you're not like, you don't have the personality, or they can't connect with you. And especially in therapy, having that connection is so important. That's the most important thing. Uh, like that therapeutic relationship, that's the most important thing. So I was like, and then ever since then I was like, yo, if you don't feel comfortable with me, just let me know, and I'll find you someone else, because it's important. The most important thing is that the person feels comfortable. And I think it should be the same, like whether you're talking to a lawyer, or whether you're talking to a doctor, or you go to the store to buy something, or like you're looking for a new internet connection, whatever. Like, just find someone that you understand, that you can get along with, and has your best mind. Talking about that, this is something that maybe you guys like can give me like sort of like your own experiences, because David and I, my brother, we grew up in very similar circumstances. So like we have the same. We're basically the same person. So we have a lot of the same thoughts. But lately, I've been thinking a lot about what being professional means, and because I've been doing a lot of research on how. So I'm from Mexico. My parents are from Mexico, and so the culture there is very much. It was very much influenced by like being colonized, and a lot of the ancestral things sort of got lost. A lot of the knowledge, especially, got lost, and because it it wasn't, in order to be able to like survive in a new society. Um, yes, yes. Okay, before I go on to talk about the other thing that I was just talking about, that comment, yes, that's exactly why I say that, right? Because like when I was in school, a lot of the professors were like, you're not supposed to show emotion, you're not supposed to show favoritism, you're not supposed to show you're basically supposed to be like a blank robot in therapy. And I was like, no. Because I was like, I can't control my face. Like, I am a horrible liar because I start giggling to myself. I can't pull pranks because then I just start giggling, right? And then so so now I'm like, no, you're a person. You have to. I also say, hey, I made a mistake. Let me tell you about my experience so you know that you're not alone. Because sometimes that can make like a whole difference, right? Like when you're talking to someone, or having someone. I'm not very good at being like super direct with someone. So that might not vibe well with someone, right? Somebody, like in terms of like me being their therapist, somebody might want someone to, like you said, it's very like forward and be like, that's bullshit, I'm calling you out on it. I can't really do that. It's not my style, and I'm okay with that. I will still do it. I still call you out on things, but I have a softer way of saying it, and now I understand that I have to be more direct sometimes. But yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah, because I have, like, again, the relationship is important, so having someone that seems human is great. And this is also why I'm also like talking about like professionalism, right? Because I worked in places where they were like, hey, you can't have print, you can't have color, you have to come in like looking like super professional. And sometimes I'm like, yeah, I like dressing up. Like, yeah, for sure, I'll go and buy like a suit and wear the out or wear dresses sometimes. But not all the time. Sometimes I just feel like being like a little gremlin and like just wearing like a long, colorful shirt and colorful socks or whatever. Like I don't want to do that, and like I feel like all stiff because maybe it's just I don't know how to buy clothes, but uh like a lot of the super professional clothes are very stiff, and I wasn't very comfortable. And because I work with kids a lot, most of the time, I have to sit on the floor and play with them because otherwise, I don't know. I don't know how to work with kids without sitting on the floor and like moving a lot. And like if you're wearing like slacks and stuff, that can be a little difficult sometimes. So I'm like, I don't know about this professionalism thing going on. Oh yeah, there was a comment here about like I guess I'm guessing is like Western culture tends to steal the practices of indigenous cultures, and yeah, things that are being discovered now are not being discovered. They're they're being tested in the scientific method that they created, but this is something that ancient societies have done, and they knew that worked, for thousands of years. So it's not new. Yeah, testing's it's dumb, and it doesn't really work. It doesn't really show you what you want or whatever. But yeah, so professionalism, not. I was like, I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, so my idea of professionalism, or like how someone is professional, is what I was taught in school, what I see on TV, where it's like someone who's like wearing a suit or wearing a very, you know, suit esque thing, to work, and they're very like a matter of fact and not playful, and they're very sort of like direct, and this is what we need to do. And then I was like, that's not my personality. One, two, that even so, I'm thinking of myself as being on the other side, having to interact with a person who's like professional like that, and then I'm like, I can't vibe with you because you feel like that person makes me feel like I need to mask, like I need to I can't be myself because I can't be like super bright and colorful and like like wander around and do all these things and have my mind go all over the place when you're being like super professional about something. And then I started my research was on Mexican American and autism and doing services. And so I started learning more about the comfort level of Mexican people or like Hispanics in general, like when they seek a professional. And then I was like, oh, that's dumb. Like I don't like that this is sort of like their default reaction to that. Okay, let me just read your comment right here because this is really awesome conversation we're having right here. Dude, yeah, exactly. Dude, same brain cell. Yeah, so you're talking about how it's being professional is kind of like a higher or like a fancier form of masking. And it can keep toxic traits in check. That's true. And it does eliminate like individualism, and it really limits how you can interact with other people. And I hate that because I come from a culture where it's all about everyone, right? Like if you're doing well, you want to make sure that everybody else is doing well. If if you're not doing well, you want to make sure that you're surrounded by people that will check in on you and that will take care of you. Just the same way that it's a social collaborative sort of thing happening. And I love that, and I was like, this is what we need. And again, this is why I created Spell Freaks, because we need a geeky community that to be able to do that. And but yes, professionalism, I dislike it very much. And I saw a TikTok video of this like therapist who was wearing like jeans that were kind of like ripped and like a really nice shirt and like a cardigan and some comfy shoes. And then somebody was like, "Oh, you're a therapist, and that's what you wear to like your sessions." And I was like, "What's wrong with it? Like, if she's comfortable, the person on the other side of the chair is gonna be comfortable too." And that's what's important. Like that's why I love. I have this a bunch of artwork that I put up on my wall in my last work, and they're all geeky. They're all very like green and nature oriented, but like one's Lord of the Rings, like Loki, obviously, and then I have like a Ghibli one, and they're like very super geeky, but it made me happy being in my. And then like I would sit in my. I don't have a stuffed animal anywhere near me, but I was sitting in my chair because I had stuffed animals for the kids to like play with. I was sitting in my chair and I had a stuffed animal like on my side. It was like a baby Yoda, and I was just kind of like play with it, and it was kind of like a sensory thing for me. And I was just very comfortable. I did it with kids or adults, and then I had other adults that would come in and they would play. I had a Dumbo that kind of has like those beads on the bottom to make it like sit, and then they're like, it kind of acted like a weighted toy, and then they're like, oh, this is really cool and I like it, and they were messing with it, and I'm like, yeah, this is exactly why you need to have like things like this in your office. And there's like offices of like psychologists that are like super nice and modern and professional and stuff, and then I'm like, yeah, but that seems very like not comfortable place to be in. So it's yeah. So I totally changed my idea of what professionalism is to. And for me it's more about like how you interact with another person. Like, are you wanting the other person to get the best benefits or like of interaction with you, and are you at your best? And even if you're not at your best, are you like still trying? Because we're all human. We have days that we don't feel like we're doing good. And I think sometimes saying things like, oh, I'm just really tired, I'm so sorry, like, it's gonna take a little bit longer, like it just makes you more human, and I just appreciate that so much. Yes, yes, exactly. When there is like a power dynamic. So I did a what you call it, a an application for a job here where I live, and they were asking, oh, can you talk about your own style of like leadership or whatever? And I was like, one thing that I got out of I guess being in grad school is that there was a supervisor that said, hey, you guys are studying like the latest trends basically of like what's happening in psychology, and sometimes the psychologists who have been licensed for a while, they don't have that information, or they're still working on understanding that information. And then so they're like, yeah, we can learn from each other because the supervisor has the experience, they know what it's like to take sort of like the information that is a textbook for us and apply it to the real world, because that's a completely different animal, like it's not the same, right? And but we also have something to contribute, and I always felt like, well, I'm the student, you're supposed to teach me, I don't have anything to contribute, what do you want me to say? But after like having that supervisor, I was like, no, like I do have something to contribute, because, and especially because I minority Mexican, when you're a minority, whether you're like neurodivergent, or because ethnic minority, or wherever it is, or like you're immigrated from a different country, you have experiences, and the way that you understand the world is different, right? And so you can say that because other people might not understand. Their circumstances are completely different. One thing, so last night, and this is something that I wanted to look more into, but I didn't really have. Yes, collective healing. There you go. Exactly. Again, same brain cell. Um, yes. So it was a TikTok video. Oh my gosh, I love TikTok because I learned so much. There was a person who was talking about how. No, no, it wasn't a TikTok. It was an Insta, because I was on Instagram. It's an Instagram post of somebody saying that people who come from like a poor background and go to like study, and then in school or like in college they tell you, oh, you have to network with other people. They don't understand how difficult that can be, because we come from way different backgrounds. And there was a lot of like comments after that one post where people were saying things like, oh yeah, I had to network with people who were like, oh, I will hide away from like the person that cleans my house, or like I would just they would turn on the water, like they will let the water run in like the bathroom sink just to see how long it took the cleaning lady to like turn it off. Or like they were like, oh, I don't come from means or whatever, but they got a brand new car when they graduated. And then I'm like, bro, you delete that. That's a completely different universe. Like, no, like that, not the same, not the same. Like it just, that's not how any of that works. And like in my world, right? And then like, I think this is too, like, why I hated networking. And because a lot of like when especially in the last few years of my graduate program, a lot of people were like, oh yeah, you need to go to these meetings, these professional meetings with people, because then you get to see doctors and stuff. And I'm an introvert. I'm going outside. I don't know any of those people. None of my friends were going. I was like, I don't want to. And then I realized, I was like, oh, I do have to network with people. Like, if I wanted to like learn new things and form connections or whatever. And I just hated that. I hated having to do that until I created Psychology for Geeks. And now I'm like, yo, you like Star Wars? I like Star Wars. Let's collaborate. And that is so much, like, it's a whole different animal. Now I'm like reaching out to people and be like, hey, how are you doing? Do you want to collaborate with me? Like out of nowhere, because it's completely different. But now this is my world, this is my culture, this is what I understand. We're not super professional. I've seen some of the posts that they put, I seen like their social media, they seen mine, and then it's just fantastic. I love it so much. Yes. Yeah, good point. Okay, so this code, like, yes, coming like classism, I guess it's huge, especially in, I guess, the mental health field, because and you, well, I talk about it, but I think you guys join a little bit later. But we have a new video that I'm gonna put on YouTube. Either depends on when I finish editing, but it's either next week or the following week for sure. But we talked about how why therapy is so expensive, and we like it was such a great panel because again it was like my people, they understood me, but this is something that I never really could talk with most of like my classmates because they came from a slightly different background. But yes, a lot of therapists tend, or like doctors, they tend to come from wealthy or well-off backgrounds, and that's why they only work like a few hours a week. Like, they only do part-time, or they can create their own practice. But they have sort of like that safety net. They have a safety net, and I guess I come from like a low SES background. My family's poor. I'm poor. I've always been poor, and now, like, this is like self disclosure here, but I just graduated with my doctorate degree in December, and now I'm struggling to find a job because I don't have money to move to a different place where most jobs are, which is in big cities, and I live in a small town, and I'm like, I need to find a job here. So I've been struggling, and in order for me to be able to get a job, I need to have permission from the board of psychology to be able to do clinical work. And in order for me to do that, I have to apply, and the application is $400. $400 I do not have. $400 I can't ask my parents for because they do not have. $400 I can't ask my siblings for because they do not have. And this is something that is like whatever to other people. They just do it because they have the safety net. They have someone who can cover their expenses until they can get licensure and make more money. But yes, it is like such a privileged sort of thing because it's so expensive. I think I owe like $500,000 just in like student loans at this point because I needed I couldn't have like a part-time job because I couldn't juggle all of that. There were some of my friends who did have like part-time jobs. I did like like some babysitting and like house cleaning jobs and stuff, but like it wasn't like a regular thing, and that allowed me to have like some extra money. But yeah, it's not the same as having someone pay like your bills or pay like your rent or pay like just even how I was actually paying for my siblings and my parents' cell phone at that time. But like, yeah, other people that I knew, they had their parents or significant other was like sharing some of the bills, so like they had a safety net, and I'm like, I don't have a safety net for any of that. So yeah, definitely a privileged thing to do, and I think that's why again I'm so passionate about having this nonprofit like actually work and last for years and years, because I worked in a lot of places where they're like, hey, this person doesn't show up on time for their therapy session, they can't have a therapy session anymore, and if they do it 3 times, they're out. This is a business, we can't do this. And then I'm like, yeah, but like, especially because I was working a lot with like Hispanic people or like only Spanish speaking clients, and a lot of the time was like not reliable transportation. The car broke down. They have something came up with their kids. They got sick, and they have no time to call. Or like I had a client who was like just very very anxious about leaving their house, and I think just reaching out to like to get therapy was like a major step for them, and they were like they showed up to one session and it was a virtual session, but then the next one they didn't, and then we had to like cut off communication because that was like the procedure. But I was like, but they like the struggle they must have faced to reach out, and then just the people that's supposed to help you and support you, they were like, now we can't deal with you anymore because you're taking too much of our time. Just you don't really care. And that's why I'm like, no. I don't believe in any of that. We have to create, and again, that's when I started like heavily realizing how much just the mental health world is created or modeled after a system that doesn't work for my culture and specific for a lot of cultures. Actually, it was created for by and for one culture, and that's not mine, and that's not most of the world's culture. But that's the sad reality of things. Yes, having interacting with someone who is like, oh, I'm so broke. I can only afford to do a weekend in Hawaii, and not a whole week. And then I'm like, I can't even afford to do a weekend. What are you talking about? Like that, not same standards. I saw one of my favorite streamers had a did a presentation about this other streamer, and it was like a VTuber, and he did this meme who was like because they were like excellent friends, and then so he was like making fun of her, and the meme was like, you're Latina, I'm white, we're not the same. And it was in the context, it was like super hilarious, and I didn't take any offense. Nobody took offense in that joke or whatever. It was great, but like now, like that's all I think about, like when people say something like so off, like that I'm like, yeah, you and I are not the same. But this is just, I keep thinking, I'm like, you don't understand how poor I really am, or like the level of broke that I happen to be, because we're not the same. It's not the same. Like your level of broke, not the same level as mine. And and because I've come across so many people that I had that thought of, now I understand that my level of broke might be a really high level compared to someone else, right? Like I, even though I'm broke and I can afford all the things, and I'm like on like having to rely on like food stamps and like Medicare or whatever, there's people that can even access that, or people that like in different parts of the world that might not even have that opportunity for that. So it's just I think I'm like more aware of that, and I try to just to tell myself or like remind myself, right, not to be like one of the people that I have those thoughts about, like, yeah, you and I are not the same. And I want to be able to understand. And I think streaming and like creating this sort of community, that's it. I think Psychology for Geeks is still relatively new. And a lot of people are just, have a lot of people who like the posts that I put out there, but there's not a lot of commenting. And I think it's because again people don't really feel comfortable, and then so I was hoping maybe streaming will be a bit better so people can like, because it's like real time, right? I can answer, like you can respond to what I'm saying, and then I can read what you're saying, and then we can have that conversation. That's kind of difficult to have like on social media. But yeah, so I'm hoping that this is a place where people can feel more comfortable sharing their own stories, because it's so important. Like I think the first time that I stream and I was just babbling on about complete nonsense, I was like, actually this is so therapeutic for me. I love streaming. I'm gonna do it way more often. And I'm like, I cannot like yes, it's so important for us to be able to have a space to tell our own stories, and that's why I liked interviewing people, and that's why I want to have those panels, and I want to have that connection with people. It's all about community. Yeah, so I had an autistic client who sort of kept apologizing the first few sessions that we met about not making eye contact. And I was like, you don't have to look at me. Like, you can just do whatever. I'm fine. Like, hey, do you want a fidget toy? Like, they were very anxious the first few times, and I was like, I did work at a place where we had a lot of fidget toys, like just around everywhere, and I had a bunch in my office, and I was like, you want a fidget toy? And then ever since like they became comfortable, like the more they realized that I wasn't gonna judge them and I wasn't gonna be like, hey, eye contact or whatever, and I didn't really care about that as long as they were interacting with me in a way that they felt comfortable. They started making less eye contact, and to your point, you said that you can do it like during your lunch breaks and stuff. That's majorly important because a lot of the times, again, mental health things are run like a business, so they're open from 8 to 5. But if you work from 8 to 5, when do you have time to meet anybody? And if you, especially if, like, for example, let's say you did have an hour break or an hour and a half and you had enough time, but what if your therapist office or your psychiatrist is like all the way across town and there's a lot of traffic, or you live in an area where like it's half an hour away for you to be able to just reach the office. It's the telehealth has, or like technology in general, like having those like what is it, like that way of like providing services has been so helpful, and I want to like promote a lot more of that because now my psychiatrist office, they had that thing, like especially like during COVID, but now that it's not, I think the US said it's not like a public safety or whatever. The a lot of hospitals are like saying, oh, we can't do telehealth anymore, you have to come in person, or like you can't do every single appointment like via telehealth. And I'm like, why not? I mean, for some people it might work better. There's a lot of people who are like, no, I don't want this technology, I want to be able to like be face to face with someone. But also for a lot more people it's a lot more helpful to have telehealth, especially if no transportation, if they have no transportation to be able to make it to your office. Most nowadays a lot of us have cell phones and we can just call, or you can just open up the app or whatever, that makes it a lot easier. And if you're more like the one person that I was working with, that they had like they struggled to leave their home, it was a huge step for them to just even reach out for help. And so having like being able to provide those virtual services is it's great. And I think it's very similar as to like why I use like geeky things in there, because it just works better. Like I had like my brother was I like my brother needs to get paid for all the work that he does for the nonprofit for me, because he whenever I have a problem with something, I'm like, hey, come here, let me just talk at you, and then like you give me solutions for things that I can't like think, or like give me a different perspective on things. And I was talking to him about some groups that I wanted to make in the future for the nonprofit. And I was like, hey, would you be interested in this? And he's like, not really. I wouldn't really be interested in something like that. And I was like, okay, what if I make it more geeky? What if I talk about like D&D, or what if I talk about like anime or whatever? And he's like, that will get my attention. And I was like, exactly. And I was like, yeah, okay. So then that feedback was like so helpful, because he's the type of person I want to connect with, I want to provide services for, because that's the type of person that doesn't really fit well in the standard mental health sort of therapy. And yeah. Somebody rang the bell, and my dogs went crazy. I'm like, we never have visitors. This is so weird. Who's calling? Usually, like, people come over when my parents are home, but they're not. They're like in Mexico, living their best life. So it's weird. Someone's here. Wait. Thank you guys. This was such a great conversation. Thank you for like all the feedback. Because it really helps us like solidify like some of the things that I want to create for Psychology for Geeks. And in some ways it lets me know that I'm heading in the right direction. And I just love being able to connect with people and be like, I know, right? Like same brain cell, or like we understand each other without having to mask or anything. It's amazing. Yeah. Let's see. Oh my gosh, it's almost been a 2 hour stream. This is like fantastic. So part of what I wanted to talk about today was that I wanted to do a YouTube intro, but it's been like an hour. Like, it's been like 2 hours. I don't think I can do a YouTube intro now. So that's out. And the other thing is that I wanted to introduce my dog. Hey, come here. Ven, canal. Ven. Ven aquí. Nah, he doesn't want to come. I wanted to talk about my dog. This one right here. But he doesn't want to. Especially because I have no food. Hey, hey, hey. Stop, stop. I already talked about psychology for geeks and what we'll be doing. You guys, let's talk about fandoms. Let's talk about what you love. Let's talk about what I love. I talked about video games a little bit earlier. I haven't been playing as much because I am technically like usually like streaming. And I know for sure, yeah. Shoot, I agree. Ask. I'll give you a personal opinion, my own experiences from what I've learned and stuff. And again, this is like one of those things where like if you have a question or like this, somebody later on watching this video might also have a similar question. So not only do you benefit, but somebody else might as well. Okay, we'll talk about fandoms later. Oh, I think it's a neighbor. That's who's at the door. All right. Well, that's a tricky question because it all depends on your perspective of things. Because I have my own personal sort of they're not boundaries, but I don't even know what they're called. I guess idea of what it is like to be in sort of like in a relationship, and while it could be possible that it wasn't like something that was mutually wanted, it did happen. And I think there's a difference between denying it and like what the thoughts are about infidelity. Because so lately I saw a couple of like videos where Japanese people were like just on the streets, they were asked if they thought somebody going to a what's the word, a sex worker was infidelity. And a lot, both Japanese men and women said no, no, that's not infidelity because there's no love there, right? And but if when asked a Japanese man if a woman were to go to a sex worker, was that infidelity? The response was like absolutely. So there's a standard. And sometimes helping another person understand your point of view is having that hypothetical situation, right? I was like, okay, so if that happened to me, I said, well, in your shoes, how would you feel? What would your thoughts be on that situation? I think just communication in general is extremely important, and it's really it's up to you to decide whether or not this is something that you're comfortable with or not. Yeah, yeah. I'm just from yours, from your perspective. Is this something? Um, yes, of course. I don't have quite a lot of experience in this area or knowledge. I will have to do a bit more research to give you more of a valid answer, I guess. But in general, just think about yourself. Is this something that helps you? Would it benefit you in any way? But also, I guess, also considering like in the long run, because it seems like this isn't a one time thing. This is something that's happened multiple times, and I guess doing that exercise of like what could happen in the future. Is this something that you're comfortable with? Is there one of the questions I would like everyone to ask themselves is, am I being valued? A lot of the times the answer to that is no, because we ourselves don't believe we have that value or that we can't do better. But the answer is always you are a valuable person, whether, because sometimes I just think to myself like, am I contributing something to this? Am I being helpful in any way? Like just in general, whether it's like with my siblings or like with my dog, whatever it might be, and sometimes the answer, I'm like, I'm not doing anything, I'm just here. But sometimes that is like the most powerful thing that you can do, just be there for another person, right? So yes, you do have something powerful, like something to contribute, and if the other person doesn't see it, maybe they're not the right person. If you don't feel comfortable with this, if you are having doubts because you're asking, then maybe it's something that you would like to discuss more with your therapist, because a lot of the times we undervalue ourselves, and it's really hard to value ourselves how we should. And also, one thing that really helped me as well, not only is it reversing sort of like the situation of what happened and what the other person might think, but also if a friend came to you and said this to you, what will be your response to them? What would be your advice to them? Because oftentimes we, again, like I said, we value more or like loved ones than we value ourselves. So that's a good thing that I like to sort of like do for myself and suggest that people do too. If a friend came to you and gave you this exact scenario, what would your response be? And it's sadly, there isn't a right or wrong answer, or like a, if this happens, this is the solution to it, or this will make it better. It's really hard because there's so many other factors that come into play in here. And I don't know, life is hard. Life is hard, but I'm really glad that you feel comfortable enough asking your question, and definitely something for you to continue thinking about it, and discussing more in depth with your therapist, who will be able to guide you more than us for sure. Oh, and this is something, again, like I was saying, like sometimes we don't value ourselves enough, and when we are in a situation where this is like normal, this has happened so much, you just come to expect it. Like like a simple thing. I have dogs, so you should. I've come to realize that all my clothes are gonna have dog hair, and that's fine. I just need to I need to just sort of check myself, but wait, no, I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. Hold on, let me reset my brain. I was trying to go somewhere, and then it went in a completely different direction, and that's not what I was trying to say. Point being is that a lot of the times, because we don't like value ourselves, and because we've been in a situation where like this is normal, it becomes something that we expect. So we're just kind of like, it happened again, when it would be best for us and everyone sort of involved if we were like, oh no, this is not okay. You can't treat me like this, or this, work situation is not okay. Because yeah, especially like as an adult, experiencing a lot of like distress, whether it's from some sort of mental health diagnosis, or trauma, or some life circumstances. A lot of the times it's like, what it is, what it is, we can make it better, or whatever. And this is why it's so helpful, like, to talk to someone else, right? Because then you can see other people's perspective on it, and it gives us a fresh sort of outlook on life, on what's happening. And that's why sometimes I go, because in my own brain I'm like, it's not that bad, like, or my own anxiety, it just lies to me completely all the time. And then sometimes I have to go and be like, David, my brain is lying to me, right? And then he'll be like, oh yeah, for sure, that's not reality. And I'm like, okay, I knew it. Okay, moving on with my life. But yeah, having a therapist or somebody to let you know, be like, hey, that's not often seen as a good thing, or that's not a good thing for you. Maybe you should consider, different options, or doing something differently. I think that would, yeah, definitely helpful. And yeah, and definitely check out Boone's. Wait, what's the title, Boone? Hold on, let me click on it. Okay, no, that's fine. I just want to say the title. I'll probably add it as well on, like, because this is going to straight to YouTube. Have such fun. Oh, this is your new one, right? I saw it on Instagram the other day, that you posted about it. Okay, so for those of you who might be more interested in learning more about this, or getting like a different perspective, always good to do that. You guys can check out the video. The link is gonna be at the bottom of this YouTube video or whatever, and but it's called ENFPs. Winnie and Sean talk about codependence, therapy informed coach, and a substance abuse counselor. That's the YouTube video. But see, this is a great example, I think, of why having a supportive community is so beneficial, regardless of how old you are, regardless of what you're facing in life, regardless of what socioeconomic status you are. It's because we we're just humans. We're humans, so we are social animals. We need other people in order to live, to survive. And having a supportive community, somebody who we know have our best interest in mind, sometimes forces us to ask us the hard questions that we don't want to face. And yeah, that's why it's helpful. Yeah, you're welcome. And again, see, this is why so like this is why I want to have the panels be live so then people can ask questions and then they can be answered like in real time. They can never like what is it's a word replace therapy, of course, because that's different again the relationship, and yeah, but like I think it's helpful, right, to have like another brain cell, asking you and stuff. Yeah. Oh, and you know what? If because sometimes I ran out of things, and I don't because I am such like a nerd for like mental health stuff. I'm like, oh, you know what would be interesting? This topic, and I actually don't know if that's interesting to. Oh, thank you for following. um, wait. I don't actually know if those topics are interesting to other people. They're just interesting to me. And that's what I've been doing this whole time. And if the post or the videos happen to also be interesting to other people, fantastic. But yeah, this is why I'm like, yeah, comment on the things and let me know what you would like to learn more about. Because one of the reasons why I like collaborating with other mental health professionals is that it is impossible for me to know everything about mental health. I still relatively new in my journey of being a mental health professional, and just my brain can only comprehend so much, you know. And then so having someone that I can contact and be like, "Hey, do you know about this topic? Would you be willing to talk about it with us and let us know and answer some of these questions?" It's just so helpful. Plus, I don't have to do all the research, and then they can just talk to me about it. Yeah, I don't. Okay, so last night, Boone, when you were testing out your stream, I realized that I think you had like things on it, but I don't actually know how to change like when someone follows or someone does something. I don't know how to do any of that, and so it surprised me. I was like, "What's that?" There's a noise, uh, but yeah, that was yeah, definitely not something I considered. I was just like, you know what I need? I need to prep at the stream is starting. I think for the a break is something for like the stream is ending or it ended. Uh, but I didn't consider anything else because I don't know. I didn't think about it. So yeah. So whether you're watching this on Twitch or you're watching this on YouTube later on and you have a topic you would like to know more about, let me know in the comments so then that way I can find people that are more familiar and experienced with that topic, and then I can bring them in and then we can all learn for free. I think so. I don't know. I've never done it before. I don't know. I think there is a way to remove the. There might be a way for me to remove the chat, from the YouTube video, but I don't know. And this is all relatively new to me, so I'm just gonna like my plan to put it on YouTube was to like download it from like Twitch because, from my understanding, it gets recorded on Twitch, and then I can just download it, and then I can put it on YouTube, which might be good, like for me to edit it because I don't love the orange. I don't love the orange. I would like to put something else, maybe green to match the logo, something cute. I don't know. Well, actually, this brings up a good question. If I will try if I can remove it, I will do so. Because either way, I just talked about it anyway. Um, uh, Wait, what was my question? Oh, yeah. I will try to make it match. Well, see, when I did that, because my intro screen is like cats and this like nature scene, because it was just the cutest thing you could find on Canva. But eventually, I do want to get one where it just sort of matches more of the vibe of like psychology for geeks. But I will have to like go back to the drawing board for that. Um, but quick question: you guys may know this, hopefully. No, I forgot my question. Hold on. Is there a way for people to like submit questions without it being in the chat, like a DM or something? So if people are not comfortable with like other people seeing their questions, they can like ask somewhere else where it's more private. I don't know if that's like possible. I think that's something I would like to look into. Oh, I don't. I don't have a Discord server, but maybe I should. Because this is something that not a Tumblr. I am on Instagram and Facebook. I don't think you can. I don't think because for the Facebook one, it's just like a page, so I don't think you can like send messages through that either. You can on Instagram, uh, and of course there's like email, but like that's weird for you to send out emails. But actually, let me just write myself a note because I will forget and I don't want to forget. But this is something. Wait, oh no, notepad. Submit. Can you do that on Discord? Can you do anonymous questions on Discord? I will I don't I've never done any of this, but I will Google these for sure because this is something I want to get a better understanding by the time we do like live panels and stuff, so people feel even more comfortable asking questions. Yeah, I mean, ideally, I think I did at one point think about having sort of like a community on Discord, so there's more interaction between people who want to do it when I'm not like live or whatever. It's just at this point because we're so small still, and we have no funding. It is I am basically editing the videos. David helps for sure, and like he helps with the streaming as well. But I have to do like all the content. I have to schedule it. I have to other live events that we're planning for the community and stuff. I also have to do that. So maybe somewhere in the near future, but it will be more of a community. I think for now, maybe looking into it as a way for people to ask questions anonymously. I think that will be helpful, at least for the panels, and then maybe later on we can consider like growing more as a community. I think this is something that I really wanted because so we have a Patreon to help fund this, And one thing that David and I were considering doing is that we want to have like different groups of people be a part of the Patreon, like almost kind of like a club that you're a part of, and it just all dependent on what your main fandoms were. So if you were more of a cosplayer, that would be like sort of like the group that you're in. If you were more of like a gamer, a video game, board game, whatever, like then that would be the group that you're in. If you're more of a I love anime, I like watching TV, then that would be like sort of like the group that you're in. But for sure, that's something that I would love to do. And again, like it just again every time I think about like how long I've been working to make this into like a nonprofit and to open it up to like more people and stuff, it's just been so. It hasn't been that long at all, and I'm like okay. Like I have to be patient, but I'm like my ADHD brain slash anxious brain is like do it right now, because it'd be so much fun. um, Oh, that's good too. That's a good point too. If we make it into like a Google form, like you use a spreadsheet. Wait, but if you wait, can we test it out real fast? Because I think I can just open like a. Oh no, I closed something. Let's see. If I were to just open a. No, that won't work. Um, Wait, are there Google Forms? Because sometimes there's like forms that are already like created for you. Let me see. I have no idea what I'm doing. Let's see. Hold on. Because I know there is a way. Because I shared two two forms on my website for I think one is for like journaling questions for Avatar: The Last Airbender, and that one is on a Google document that everybody has access to and can well they can see it, but they can I don't think they can modify it. But I would need something that everybody can modify, right? And then maybe something else where I can keep track of those questions, like copy and paste them. Okay. I don't know. I'm still relatively new to like all these Google things, Google Sheets. I'll definitely look into it because yeah, it'd be great for people to have more of a safe space to ask questions. I know. I think having trolls is a thing that's bound to happen, and I'm like already preparing myself for that. But if it helps like one or two people like ask their questions, like because it's sometimes it can be a huge step out of your comfort zone to like reach out to someone or ask a question. So I want to make sure that I have created a space that's like safe enough for them to feel comfortable doing that. Then do you know how to do it? Because I don't know. Because there was one where like I wanted to have like again I created the website myself. So I just sort of like did it, but I don't really know much about it. But I want to have it where people can like send emails from there as well. And I don't know how to do that. Um, yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'll okay. Wait. Yeah. I'll definitely look into like Google Form then. For that. Oh, it's a thing. Hold on. Let me open it. Oh, wait a minute. Couldn't I just be looking? Because I'm streaming through my laptop because it's for some reason works better than my desktop. But couldn't I just open to instead of having it on my phone? Couldn't I just have it open on my desktop? Can I do that? Is there a way to see the chat? Wait, no. Uh, yes. Okay. I'm just gonna move closer. Move this. Okay. Because my phone is tiny and close to. Okay. The easy. Okay, I'll open the Google Forms. Oh, okay. Yeah, I like that. Thank you. Yes, yes, definitely. Okay. Yes, I like that. Thank you so much. This would be so helpful, I think. It sent me to the Google or the what you call it, the link that you put there. It sent me to like a Google Forms thing, where I can see like other templates and stuff. Which is that's what I was looking for, but I didn't know where to look for them. See, this is what I'm talking about. Everybody has something to offer, regardless of whatever diagnosis they have, and this is why we need a community, man. Again, I just like the whole time. I just feel like I'm just repeating the same things over and over again. But this is why, man. This is why we need it. Because it can be so helpful. All right. Well, I had a great time. Thank you so much for joining us today. I do have to end because I'm kind of getting hungry, and also I have a recording that I have to do later on today, which is scheduled with someone else. I can't move it or push it backwards, but I have so much fun, and I love streaming. Yes, and I will be streaming tomorrow with a great friend of mine. We'll be talking about Avatar: The Last Airbender and tea, and probably anything else under the sun because I have ADHD and I'll just talk. But the goal for now is to stream every Saturday at noon. I think there are some presentations for like the library that I have to that I think they are on Saturday that I have to do on Saturday. So there were Saturdays where like I might push it to a later time because of that. But but yeah, this is so much fun. Yeah, and again, thank you for joining us today. And if you are watching this on YouTube, don't forget to head out to Twitch and follow me so that way you can get like the notifications of when I'm going on stream. Because I also plan. Because I think I love it so much, and sometimes I just get really bored of doing nothing. Especially once I can connect my whole system to like my video game set. I think I'm just gonna like randomly like just jump on the stream and like play video games because that's so much fun. Because sometimes like since I work from home and my siblings sometimes they all have work at the same time or whatever, you're bored by myself. So do I want a pizza? Yeah, I'm gonna end the stream in just a little bit. I'll go. Yes. Oh, I'm glad you loved it. Uh, Wait, what was I saying? I forgot. Oh yeah, don't forget to subscribe to my Twitch. That way you can also join us on the streams and ask questions live. Also, if you're watching it on YouTube, you can check out some other YouTube videos and subscribe to them so you can know when I'm posting stuff. I try to do it regularly, but just ADHD brain doesn't work. But I'm working out a system. Now that we have board members and stuff. They're being so helpful and lovely, and they're taking care of other things so I can focus on like content creating, and all the other stuff that I have to do for the nonprofit. So yeah, so we're working on a system so we have more consistency, which is consistency is good. I need it in my life. It's great. The whatever algorithm loves it, I guess. But yeah, anyway, thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope to see you guys next week or tomorrow or next week. Wait, how do I end the stream? I don't know how to end the stream. Okay, wait, if I hit this, am I frozen? I don't know what's happening. No, it's just streaming. Okay. Okay. Eventually I'll figure it out. Okay, program froze. Cancel. How do... No. How do I do it? How do I cancel the stream? Wait, if I. Oh, okay. Okay, I'll do it on OBS. Thank you so much.